And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. It is Tuesday night. It is the 30th of March. We're almost into April now. The NBL is in full swing. I think are we halfway through the season at the moment? Nearly?
No, I'd say we're more than half. I think it's 36 games.
It's
Each
pretty,
team.
yeah. Everyone plays 36 games. It's about close. I think we've played 18. But yeah, we're here to discuss anything but that very, very poor display against Perth on the weekend. If we could avoid it, we would. But I thought it would come, and I got to admit, I should have changed it to On the King's Salt. Yeah, definitely On the King's Salt, because there's going to be some salt tonight. It was a loss against Perth. It was a struggler of a performance, and I think we're coming up on half-season review too. So I definitely think there's some post-mortem on this squad, and we'll definitely delve back into some of the comments we made at the start of the season and reflect on how this season is going. But as always, we are live right now. We're on Facebook. We are also on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and it's halfway through the season. I still can't get that one right. And Spotify as well. So if you want to subscribe to us in audio format, you can listen to us on your favorite device. And yeah, listen to us live on Facebook at the moment, and put these up on YouTube as well. I have been doing content, but I kind of wanted to do a game content on this Perth game. I just don't get time at the moment. Back to work, and that's a pain in the ass. But
Don't worry, mate. The Rona's coming for everyone, so we'll be back home pretty soon.
could be back into lockdown. We'll have to wait and see. There is schedule changes, so that we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll do an armchair COVID sort of talk at the start of this podcast. But yeah, like, share, and subscribe out there. We're going to be bringing that half season review. I think very soon we'll talk half season review, post mortem, and then just down the stretch of the season. We're in the fight for a top 4 place. Really, you're not going to see this team go from where it's at all the way to the top. Ladder, what do we got? We're 9-9. I think we're 5th at the moment.
Yeah, we're very much in the middle of the pack, fighting for that. So
the Bullets are 9-9, and the 36ers are 7-13, and they've died. They've fallen off a cliff. No Humfo, bit of a struggler. So really, there is still a huge chance we can make this playoffs, but it's going to take a pretty Herculean effort, I think, down the stretch of this season. And yeah, we'll have to keep wading through it and working through it. And we're definitely going to talk about this Perth game. So let's do it. Let's get into it. I've been trying to avoid it, but let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing Perth. We're doing armchair COVID.
Oh, armchair COVID. Sorry.
Yeah,
avoided some more.
Sorry. Yeah, no, we'll avoid that Perth game at all costs, and especially doing 3-2-1. Actually, you know what, Jordan Martin,
his defense, man. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not good because he's a power forward. He's not a center, and so his rim protection is not there. This is the problem. We could just get onto this Perth game, and then we'll talk armchair COVID.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the problem with when Geordie fouls out early is that, especially against a clever team like Perth that exploits our weakness in rim protection, is that Mooney can just get in low. Guys can get all the way around the basket. They can pull Jarrell up and just blow past him and know that he's probably a step quicker. He's a power forward. Like, this is he's not and he can't defend the 5. He can probably defend the 3 and 4 pretty effectively, but really it's kind of, and then when Kickett came on and 4 and runs, it was just like, man,
that was
some of those bunnies he missed were just atrocious.
Hard.
Atrocious.
But Jarrell, I think he hasn't had time, obviously, to gel with what our defense is, and we don't have an anchor rim protector or an anchor really defensive player. Geordie has tried this season, and he's had a couple of games where it's been good, and you kind of go, "Hey, Geordie, that's nice, playing up." And then he's had a couple of games like against Perth where it cops a few fouls, and then the lineup just gets ragged. And Travis had a couple of like just backdoors where Jarrell's turning around looking for dudes, and he's just like, it's happening too much, man. Like, too much. Like 1 or 2 a game, okay, that's all right. But I think 3 or 4 on the night where he just loses his man and that guy gets inside. But it all comes down to really losing Bogut, and that elite rim protector kind of exposes.
I also think that you look at the NBL and you look at the FIBA lineup, you have to have 2 rim protecting centers in the team. It doesn't matter what you have. If you want to have an effective benchmark defense in the paint, you have to have a rim start and a rim protector coming off the bench.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem like, you look at Sean Long, not really a rim protector, good scorer, but Melbourne still got torched. You need classy rim protectors in and out off the bench. Perth's done that. I mean, Perth is outscored teams effectively as well. But Brisbane, let's look at Brisbane.
Yeah,
last year,
Hodgson.
Hodgson and Magnay last year, great defense. Unfortunately, their offense was turgid. That's really where you got to do. I mean, I'm comfortable with Geordie being first choice center. I think he's earned that right in this team. I wouldn't want to go outside of Jordan, but maybe it's time to bring in next season a defensive center. Now, again, we have to say this with a bit of caveat. We've lost Xavier Cooks, who is a pretty good rim protector at 6'9", and a savvy finisher around the rim. So you get that two-way kind of playing. But yeah, man, Jerome Munn is a scoring power forward. He's not a defensive big, and we really see that in games. Mollett handles himself well. I didn't like the fact that there's a couple of runs where Kicker was on the floor playing center and just like, this game has gotten way past his abilities in that 5 position. If you're going to play anyone, you got to play Moller, because at least he can box out and rebound effectively, if not protect the rim. And Kicker can't do anything really.
Yeah, defensively, it's like a lamppost.
Yeah,
and that's okay if you're in a team where last year, we had a very solid team and it was 5 guys, and then it was a sort of 7-8 man rotation with Kickett playing a few minutes, and you're like, okay, come in, shoot some threes, that's good, defend the rim a little bit. But this season, like, asking him to, you're gonna have to sub in and play defense and play offense, it's probably a stretch too far. The other thing too, like we just go to some really bad lineups, and it's not 40's fault. It's kind of just the way our roster is. That I said in the Facebook group, there was a couple of side pick and rolls with Mola Vodanovic, and you're just like, oh, what is this? This is horrible. Like, and we just don't have enough weapons really that are reliable. Like once if Casper's not having a good game, and admittedly, we'll talk about Cotton in a minute. He hasn't had that many good games against Cotton, and he's searching for something. You can tell he's just can't find it when he's playing against Perth. But if he's not playing well, and DJ in this game, where like over the last couple of weeks, he's just gone into his shell just a little bit. I'd like to see him grab the ball a bit more.
Yeah,
and go but
I would like to see 40 maybe switching it up for the next 2 rounds, playing Casper in that pick and roll facilitator role, and using Casper to drive and kick out to DJ and finding DJ somewhere on the perimeter and him just letting loose. Or high down screen, DJ shoots the ball. I think we need to flip the switch and try and get Casper into more of that facilitator role, and then get DJ on the down screen shooting the ball. I mean, it was a pretty abysmal shooting night. We're going to have those. There was some lineups that I didn't enjoy. I think there was one lineup where it was Didi, Kickett, Moller. Who else was on the floor? It was just...
Yeah, it was like Kickett, Moller, Tommy V.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I'm losing you. What's going on?
It was just trying to kick. I wanted to shoot top from 30, and it's a damn ball. You're like...
I hope you're struggling. I'm getting you're breaking up. You've completely frozen. I can barely hear you. This kind of goes with the game. We might have lost him. Whoa!
That's weird.
Are you getting internet issues or something going on over there? Where you are?
No.
Now you've gone into like postage stamp size, and everyone can see the side of my room because the cam's like icing out. But yeah, I missed the end of that. But I think. You got to take the lumps with these lineups. Like it's just, you've just got to cop it, and that's just how it is. And I don't know, like it's part of just how we play as well. I'm trying to articulate it in that how we play doesn't suit, if it gets ragged, we try and play hard, and then it's just foul-a-thon. And you just like, can we just play hard? Like just somebody let us play hard. Just so we can actually like find some rhythm and get back into this game. And then it just becomes an absolute foul-a-thon. Geordie has to sit down And then you get the situation where you're just like, well, Geordie, you got to take your seat, mate. You've given away fouls and we can't have that. He's just like far out, man. Like, does he really have to like take a seat and cop lumps just because he's getting some bad calls called against him? And I hate that scenario. And as much as, I would say Geordie's not the greatest rim protector and the greatest, in the paint defender, I still kind of like want to see him play hard. And as soon as he starts playing hard, it's just a foul-a-thon. And you're just like, can you just let him play, man? Like, what? Like, he had that mad dunk. We started the game really well, tossing it inside. There's a lot happening sort of in and out, and we look really good. And suddenly it's just bang, bang, 2 fouls. And he's just like, he has to sit. And then it just gets ragged. And this team can't recover from that. We've seen that heaps of times this season where as soon as the lineups become a bit ragged, a bit janky, like we struggle for scorers. Even Diddy, like, he took it, I think, in an air ball that was like just a walk-in 3. The ball stops, he walks up and just shoots a 3 and it's an air ball. And you're just like, oh, like no rhythm to our offense. And I'd like to see us kind of solve that at least down the end of the season. Look, if we don't make the playoffs, I'd at least like to see us solve our offensive issues at the very least. But we've got to get Cooks back, and Glover's probably going to come back eventually. I think he's out of the moon knee. I think even Cooks is out of his boot as well. So
I think with Cooks, he was interviewed. I think what the problem is, though, is it's a very cautionary injury. Is that it's very likely to reoccur if you bring back too early. So I think.
What did it end up being? Achilles?
Yeah, Achilles.
Because who went down a couple of weeks ago? Quite Noy. I think he's out for 3 months. I think it was a PCL tear.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it was a similar type of fall, like that splits type fall that Jarrell suffered. So Jarrell must have got real lucky because he only had a couple of weeks out. I think it was ended up being 2.5 weeks out.
It was MCL. He had an MCL tear, which is much easier to strap up, and it's not as painful. But PCL sits inside the knee. So you got your ACL, which is obviously that's gone, but the posterior sits just behind the ACL and stabilizes the back. And usually that just partially ruptures and heals on its own. It's very rare to get a full PCL tear. If you do get them,
that happened
they're
in
pretty
Noy.
good.
Quite Noy.
Yeah.
But just let's talk Cotton. It's so hard watching. I said in the Facebook thread, like, it really becomes apparent watching Casper duel against Cotton, just how protected he is. And we can sit here and get salty about it, and definitely it's coming from a place of, really knowing that he's one of the best players in the league, and you're just like, yeah, I respect this guy, but we can also talk some mess as well because we're fans, and that's what we do. But the way you can see it, the way he gets ref, man, anytime he gets on the shoulder of someone, it's a foul no matter what. Doesn't even matter what the contact is. It's kind of, they just blow it. And then you see Casper a couple of times, like Casper's coming off a bump and rub up high, like clearly grabbed. And then just like, no, play through it, mate, play through it. And you like every time Cotton gets one of those bump and rubs, they just call it every time. And you just like, it must be infuriating, man. If you're having to play against that, you must be playing just going, I cannot believe I cannot get any call. And then you're just at the other end, just watching any type of defense. It's a foul. Come on, boys, like settle down. You're just like, oh, man, brutal. Yeah, anything more to add from you?
It's been like this.
Man, your internet must be pretty bad over there. There we go. Cotton wool.
Yeah, it's kick. Yeah, cotton wool. Yeah, he is kind of baked into the referee's dream. I think because he's the MVP. He just gets that kind of Joel Embiid, Giannis style calls where you just flick him and he's just like, oh, foul.
Yeah, he had one where he just flailed all over the place, and you just like flop warning. Any kind of flop warning at all? No,
they don't flop warn. And the other thing,
I've seen a few this season. Like DJ twice, I'm pretty sure has been called for flop warning on. Like he got trucked on one where they're like flop warning, and they went back to the replay, and he got like trucked off the edge of his screen, and they were like flop warning. I'm just like, is this some sort of like what's going on, man? And he's a rookie too. Like, just let the guy play.
Yeah, it's painful to watch. It really is.
It's hard, and
because we should have won that series. We should have won last year.
I think we had the best chance, and whatever happened, happened. The other thing too is like you read people get like super super feeling themselves into themselves on Facebook and stuff, and you're just like, man, what a sad life. Just being like, how good was that? That was the best. And you're just kind of like, yeah, that's great, man. That's great. But I still think like the way he gets refereed, I would love to see a game where Casper got that kind of treatment. As soon as he got on the back, like on a defender on the back of his shoulder, just got a foul every time, because he plays through like there must be like 5 or 6 of those a game before he gets free throws. I think he shot his first 3 free throws. I think he only got 1 set of free throws in this game. What did he shoot? Yeah, 2 of 2, and it was one of those. He got bumped up high, and then you just like finally he gets one of those. And how many free throws did Cotton shoot in this game? 6 of 6. But still, yeah, it's brutal. Let's talk Diddy, man, because kind of I want to see him take the ball, but then the more he kind of has the ball in his hands and it's not dropping, the more you just like, don't have the ball, man. Like, we don't want you with the ball now. And then like it's a chain reaction thing where you're like, you want him to take shots and do well, but then after he misses a few, you just like, you don't want him with the ball, and it's so hard this year.
You have to put him in lineups with wing threats. If you put him in lineups where they know that none of their wing players are going to shoot, they just collapse on him, and he can't finish the drive.
He had a mad
if you had like a Tommy.
He had a mad drive, and he got absolutely trucked by Travers underneath no foul. And he even tried to flex, and Travers on the way past gave him like a shoulder into the face as well. He was just like, what is going on? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so look, I would like to see Tommy V's minutes go up. I think he's proved that, yes, he can be sometimes a bit of a liability, good on the floor with Geordie. I think he takes a lot of the pressure off Geordie in the low post because he's happy to body up. But it gives you a wing threat, man. Like, you've got to have 2 wing threats. You've got to have, if DJ's going to play the ball, DJ and Tommy V. Tommy V's shot from anywhere. So I'd like to see his minutes potentially go back up to kind of 15, 16 minutes a game, where he's shooting, he's taking 6 to 7 shots a game. Because how many shots, are we taking on players that are shooting really poorly? Moller, okay, he's going to have games where he doesn't score, that's fine. But kick it, Bunnies, Casper was 2 of 10, and DJ was 2 of 2 perfect, and not DJ, sorry, Tommy V, and in 7 minutes. I think we need to see more wing lineups with Tommy V on the floor, Diddy at the point, DJ, Diddy, and Tommy V, and potentially Shawnee Bruce for a bit of guard defense. But
he was not good too. He's struggled, and he gets like, if he can't facilitate and hold things together, like he kind of really struggles on offense too.
Yeah, he's
creating a shot.
He's very, very much a confidence shooter. If he's not having a great game, if he's fouling a bit, he just does not shoot the ball.
Because defensively, I thought he did a good job. Because Diddy, to go back to Cotton, like Diddy did a great job on him in the first half, and he was 0 of 6 from 3, and it was one of those games where you're going, oh sweet,
yeah, he's going to get hot.
This is good, and then he's going to get hot. You're sitting there just going, he's going to get hot.
Was it 3 in 90 seconds or something?
Yeah,
and this game is over.
two of those were essentially like Diddy couldn't find his man in transition, and that's when things start to get ragged, and Perth kind of start to like run you around a little bit. Suddenly, those off-ball things start to happen as well, where we don't have a lockdown guy. If, for example, if DJ had the kind of like defensive ability that Diddy have, you could just throw him on there, and you could just follow him around. I don't care what's happening, just follow him around, and then you got a scoring threat. But apart from that, it's Casper trying as hard as he can. Shawnee Bruce trying as hard as he can, but he's a little bit of a minus on offense. Beyond that, it's just throw guys at him and hope for the best. And he's so good off ball, like coming around from underneath, and we don't do a good enough job of denying that. I think because we just go, well, as soon as we try that, it's a foul every time. They just call it. It's like eagle eyes. It's like, guys can play through contact off the ball. Suddenly when Cotton's off the ball, contact, foul. Like I saw that through traffic. I saw him get fouled over there. And you're just like, oh man, can you let these guys play? But, I think we've got a really good chance against Perth this week now with the reshuffle to actually go, right, what have we worked on? What do we know? What did we learn from this game? And I just got the feeling that it's like nothing. It's going to be another week of just like, we learned nothing, and we go out and the same things happen. Geordie fouls again. The lineup gets run ragged. Cotton doesn't play that well, but then, heats up and wins the game. And I just don't want to see that for this team.
Yeah, it's really going to be our kryptonite.
Also, what is actually more embarrassing about this loss, and I think it was an embarrassing loss, is that they played 2 days earlier and had to fly over. And then, in the second half, we just let them off the hook. We're just like, here you go. Just have the win, boys. Like, we're not going to play in the second half. Just have the win. And I thought that was, just pretty poor, man, and embarrassing. That's probably the first time this season where I've looked at this team and not come from a point of, this is not a great team, so I'm not going to get too upset about this. This is probably one of the first times this season where I was like, that was just embarrassing. Even if you guys aren't the greatest team, that was just an embarrassing capitulation, falling over. Hey, you guys just have the win. For now to get this, new schedule turnaround to put us up against playing up against Perth on Thursday night. I think it's Thursday night. Let me just double check.
It is.
Yeah, it is Thursday night. It's a huge, just like, all right, you guys have a bounce back chance here. Like, I want to see a reaction from this team. It hasn't been many times this season where I've been like, I want to see a reaction, but in this sense, or it hasn't been many times where I've like wanted to see a reaction and it actually means something. Like, I think this, if we want to actually have a playoff expectation or a push for the playoffs, I want to see a reaction against this Perth team in Thursday's game.
I do. Now, let's end this horrible game.
Yeah.
And just go to
13-minute pod.
Let's go to our 3-2-1s, I think.
3-2-1? Is that... Oh, damn. I don't think I put a 3-2-1 out for the fan MVP. Oh, well. Sorry about that. But that's all right. We'll go to 3-2-1. What do you got?
I've got Jarrell.
Yeah, 3. Jarrell.
DJ 2.
DJ 2 for me.
Tommy V 1.
Tommy V. You're so high on Tommy V at the moment.
I'm just. No one else was really doing it for me.
Geordie, that day. Yeah, I'm giving Geordie 1 for that dunk.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to give Geordie 2 and DJ 1. Let's be real. Geordie played well in the minutes that he had. I mean, it wasn't his fault.
That dunk was awesome, man. For a game where he has such an iconic dunk like that, with his weak hand as well, over the top of a defender, didn't get a foul. That was clearly a foul. For then to just what happened to him was just like, he just gets reffed off the floor. He's like, God, the guy can't catch a break. So that's 3-2-1. It's a tough night to give a 3-2-1. Do we need to talk anything else? Brad Newley? Struggling a little bit.
I don't know if struggling. It's just, I think it's just not.
I just want to see him just hulk up. Just go nuts. Grab the ball and just go, everyone get out of my way. If you're getting near me, I'm throwing an elbow in your face and then I'm laying the ball in. Because he had a mad lay in, and I think it was in the third quarter. Laid the ball in traffic, and I went, boys, like, okay, more of that. Like, all you need to do is dial Newley up high, get him downhill to the rim. Even if he misses, like we've had stretches this season where he's missed a couple and you're like, ooh, a bit ropey. But something just sparked the offense, man. And he just had one, and then just KD styles, just like stubbed out his cigarette and just, headband time, boys, I'm out. So also, with that headband, I saw him training again with that headband because he had that eye clash, like going to the hoop. That actually was called a foul, so that was good. The ref saw that one. Maybe, concussion type thing. So I'm just hoping he can. Nah, but you know what I mean? Like, you're always a little bit wary of like someone who puts a headband on. You go, ooh, like maybe they might.
It was cut.
But
so who've we got this week? Who do we have this week? We've got Perth Thursday. I think it's a double game week.
So we've got Illawarra. Are we talking about us? Perth?
Yeah, who have we got?
So we've got Perth, and then we're back at home to the Bullets.
This is a big game week. I think, this is really going to define us. I think we need to walk away with 2 wins to try and push for that 4th spot.
We've got to beat the Bullets at the very least. Yeah. I think if we beat Perth, there's always every chance that we come back and it's just like the job was done. Oh, we lost against Brisbane. Yeah, what a shame. But there's also the chance that we go over to Perth, we get absolutely trounced by Perth, we come back, we're tired, and then we struggle against Brisbane and they just kind of capitulate. So I think a huge statement, if we get 2 wins here, we go to 11, we'd go to 11 and 9, it would kind of put us back in the fold, because Illawarra's on 10, Phoenix is on 10 wins. Melbourne and Perth, obviously the front runners of the season, and I think they'll probably continue to be the front runners down the end of this season as well.
Yeah.
But how do you feel more about the rest of this pack? Like even the Hawks have shown a little bit of a stumble.
I think they're going to be in and out. I think they're definitely going to be in and out.
And then the Phoenix, who have been a quiet 10 and 8, where you're just like, oh, Phoenix are 4th. Like I didn't even realize that.
I think that will drop off with the lack of Mitch Creek. They've had
I think he's back. Games. He's going to be back, I think, Thursday.
Oh, wow. So that mustn't have gone.
Yeah, I think his court case got adjourned.
I think, some information must have come to light because they've got a stand down policy. So any player that has an active court case for an aggravated assault, he's not allowed to play, so something must have happened. If he's back playing.
I'm pretty sure I saw it on Facebook where it was like Mitch Creek is going to be back on Thursday, or maybe next Thursday. Probably should have just double checked that, but I'll quickly just go on Facebook and check. But I'm pretty sure he might be back. Let's do a search for Mitch Creek. Shout out to NBL News. I'm pretty sure it was NBL News that I saw. No, I'll follow that up anyway. But yeah, so I didn't expect the Phoenix. They've kind of been an unassuming. Oh, they're 4th. I didn't realize that. And I think if we can win these games over the next couple of weeks, we've got to just put a run together. I don't think at any time this season I felt like this team is just like, you know what, we've turned a corner. We're going to go on a run here. Like no team is going to come up against us and win. It's every game you're going into these games just going, oh, this is going to be a grind, man.
Yep.
Which is it's hard. So we'll just go on to tipping, shall we? Tipping?
Yes, I think we shall.
Tipping? Yeah, this crazy game week. It started out, I think it was 6 games before then a total reschedule. And then I think now there's 6 games that have to have been rescheduled. But whether the league kind of, they weren't actually scheduled. Whether they're scheduled and they're in the schedule, or whether it's just like, well, we changed the whole thing, so therefore that game's not postponed because it was never really scheduled. So I think these games are going to get ragged, man, over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think
they're going to be squeezing things in left and right.
Well, let's talk a little bit of Bullockstradamus here with
COVID talk.
COVID talk.
Armchair COVID talk.
I don't think people realise how big this outbreak in Brisbane's going to be.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be locked down for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I think this 3-day lockdown is going to get extended out to a week, which will get extended out to 3 weeks. And the reason I think that is because a lot of people have been in the community infectious for many weeks. And so...
Have they got like sewage testing and stuff up there?
Yeah, they do. But the problem is that if that person lives in the same suburb as a person who's returned, a traveller, or lives in the same suburb as a unit block or a same catchment area as a hotel quarantine, there's no way to tell the difference. That's the issue with the sewage. So really, sewage only picks up people if there's no return travellers that live in that area that have come out of quarantine.
Yeah.
Or there's no active cases in that area. So
it gives you an indicator at least to kind of go, oh, like there's an indicator there.
Yeah.
Because I did read today there was one guy, I think he went from the Gold Coast to Byron, maybe.
Byron, yeah.
And then it was like
stripper,
yeah, that's it. I was trying to think of what the
it wasn't his fault. It was the two nurses and her daughter going to the hens.
Yeah,
he caught it off them,
and it must have been good hens. And then I think he went back to work while he was waiting for results. And that's the part where I'm like, oh man, really? Oh,
yeah,
that's brutal.
This is the thing, right? And I think that. Me personally, I think that we've all gotten too complacent.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that the idea that New South Wales is no masks on public transport,
No mask of the game, and nobody's wearing masks.
80,000 to a stadium. I think that the COVID norm has to be somewhere at 50% capacity. It's terrible for business, but there's a way out. There's going to be a way out. There's vaccinations. So there's a way out. But until then, you're just going to be in and out of this lockdown stage. This guy did visit an aged care facility as well. So
he worked at an aged care facility, I think.
Or
he was doing like tradie work, so must plumbing or something like that, maybe.
So it'll be interesting to see if these vaccines actually do anything for these old people, because they've all had the Pfizer, so they've all had the stronger vaccine.
Yeah, I think that's the other part of that story is they all had been vaccinated in that particular facility.
Yes. So
scary, but like you just don't even, like, it was weeks and weeks and weeks with nothing, and you're just like, it's just normal. Life's just normal.
It's not though. I've always said you just can't be complacent.
Nah, for sure.
The difference is between, I suppose, Queensland and here is that all people in contact with infected patients or potential infected patients in New South Wales are tested every day. They're tested every shift, and once a week they're tested by a swab. So they do a saliva rapid test before shift every day, and they do a swab. In Queensland, only every 5 days. That's an issue, right?
That is an issue. It's a lot different, isn't it?
It's a lot different. This person goes out in the community for 5 days. He gives it to someone that he doesn't realize. He gets test positive, does the right thing, stays home. That person goes out into the community and just goes nuts. And it's really infectious. We know that. Look at overseas. The third wave is being caused by this B117 strain, especially in Europe. We know that it's, rapid development of cases. And so we're going to see a real outbreak in Brisbane. We're going to see definitely cases in Sydney, definitely cases in Byron, and potentially cases elsewhere. So this is going to send us back into restrictions, not in lockdown New South Wales, but I do think that probably Cairns and Brisbane will have to relocate south at some point, whether that's to New South Wales, whether that's to Melbourne, because Perth shut its borders to whole of Queensland already. So that's the end of that. So it'll be interesting what Perth does in because they're also, if there's cases in New South Wales, and they're going to close their borders to New South Wales, so what are they going to do, kind of thing. So
the big thing, obviously, I think the league itself, I might be mistaken, has kind of said, Cairns, it's all right. I think United are playing Cairns at the end of this round, and they've sort of said, you guys can go up to Cairns, like there's not that much of a risk.
No.
Which to mirror your complacency statements, like, yes, I think, that's still full on, but
let's just say this is that the most coronavirus cases in Australia are being treated in Cairns. Cairns ICU is full of coronavirus patients from Papua New Guinea. So there's people that are too sick to be transferred, so they've flown down to Cairns for treatment. So Cairns right now has the most ICU coronavirus patients in Australia.
Did no one tell Kestelman this? Does he know?
No one knows this.
Holy moly! That's pretty crazy, because you never know. Especially sending a basketball team up there. Sorry.
20 ICU beds in total for the whole of the country. So, and there's a big outbreak up there at the moment. So that's the realism of it. I think that probably Queensland teams will have to relocate in the next few days, because this lockdown is not going anywhere.
So it does, to tie it back into what's sort of happening in the league, Brisbane, and ourselves, the Kings, have a real sort of dogfight. So I'm interested to see. Look, it's not a good situation, I think, for people, for fans, and for their team. But at the same time, if they have to just leave Brisbane for a little bit, come and play in Sydney, come and play down in Melbourne, if you kind of want to do that. I think it'd be very interesting how they cope with that, because who are the teams really this season that have had issues? The Melbourne guys, Perth, I think, had to leave for a couple of weeks. And then obviously the biggest one is the Breakers have had to spend their entire season in Australia. So it's not, the Brisbane case isn't a the worst case scenario for the league. It's obviously the Breakers, but I'll be interested to see how they deal with this because it's not easy in a sports sense, not the actual virus sense. In a sports sense, you're away from home for a few weeks, and how do you sort of deal with that? Because they had a pretty good bubble, they had a pretty good cup.
Yeah.
They showed that they didn't have to play at home to kind of win games and look like a good team, but then again, kind of down the stretch of that, they died as well a little bit.
They did.
So it'll be interesting because we're in a dogfight with them. So if we can take that advantage as the Kings to, lift our league position, I think it'll be a good chance for us to win games, beat them at home this week, and then try and put on a march on that Southeast Melbourne in 4th position.
Indeed.
All right. So should we do tips? Are we done?
shall.
COVID?
Yes.
I think, man, that's a bit. Because you've been right. I think you're a bit like 3 from 3 of actually calling it Bullocstradamus. Kings fans at home, listening along at home, and anyone who's listened to Aussies taking over the NBA would know that you've called these already twice, or 3 times rather. All right, let's go tips. Illawarra, first game at home against the Phoenix.
I'm going to go the Hawks. They're in good form.
Yeah, they're looking good. I'll go Hawks also. I like that. They played so well last night against who'd they play? The Bullets. They just torched them. And old mate, 20-foot floaters, just shooting lights out.
Justinian Jessup.
Nah.
Tyler Harvey.
Yeah.
Harvey.
20-foot floaters. Perth at home to the Kings.
I'm gonna go Perth. Yeah, I'm gonna go Perth.
Oh man, I don't want to tip against the Kings, but I think I'm gonna go Perth. I think that's the first time this season. Ugh, I feel filthy. United at home to the Taipans.
United.
Taipans? Resurgence? Surge? I'll go United. Chris Golding's like kind of back now. And you're just like, wow, glad we skirted around that. Glad we played him when he was 1 of 8. Sweet. Kings at home to the Bullets.
Kings.
Yeah, I'm going Kings. Kings. Lock it in. Adelaide at home to the Hawks.
Hawks.
Yeah, I'm going Hawks also. Southeast Melbourne at home to the Breakers.
Southeast Melbourne.
The Breakers, well, they just snuck one against Brisbane the other day. It's just like, damn it. We timed it a week too late. Taipans then at home to United.
Taipans.
Types. I'm going United. United. And I think that probably wraps it up for this week. Do we want to talk these next 2 games a little bit? Do we have anything? Anything prepared? I just want to bounce back against Perth, man.
Yeah, it's got to be better than that. Even if it's a close game and we lose, it's just got to be better. That's really all it is.
Because going to Perth, it's going to be home cooking. Like they come to the Kudos and they get home cooking, or they get away cooking, and you're just like, God damn it, man! Can we get something here? So I hope Geordie can stay on the floor and have a great game. Casper, every game you just wait and come on, man, do something against Cotton. What about that tech? We didn't talk about that tech foul that he got. And it was funny because the NBL used the promo of Cotton like getting right in Ware's face. That was the big promo. It was just like, Cotton's got the wool over Casper Ware, and he let him know about it. And then in this game, there's like one minuscule iota of chat, and it's like, tech foul. Like, what do you think you're doing, mate? And you're just like, you guys build this as like a rivalry. As soon as he says something, you give him a tech foul. Like, come on, man. What a joke. Absolute joke. So yeah, a bounce back. And then against Melbourne?
Against Brisbane.
Against
I think you just got to shut down Sobey. You shut down Sobey, I think you're pretty easily in that team.
What did we put up? 120 against them last time?
Yeah.
I don't envisage that happening again.
No.
But at the same time, I don't know, man. Sobey, you kind of gotta really put the clamps on him. Although he had like a 36 piece, and we were just like, yeah, all right, we'll beat you. Beat you by 10, put up 120, sweet, have fun. One of your best games ever, just into the history books. So yeah, hopefully we can win that anyway, reel off 2 wins. And then come back to whatever round 14 is. Who knows how that's going to go. But yeah, as always, we are live right now on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook. You can share us around anywhere you feel like. You can also watch these on YouTube if you want to watch us back in replay. And we also put these up in audio form on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on Spotify. We're on the Anchor platform, which goes out to all three of those. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.
The King's die.